Good morning everybody, good morning from Belmont, which is a locality between Newcastle and Sydney, and we're starting today on a part of the Fernleigh track. Just waiting to see who's joining me. I'm exploring a little part of the track that I hadn't been to before. We're starting at a spot called Belmont Lagoon. It's very pretty around here. And this tells you a little bit about Belmont Lagoon on the Fernleigh track. Hi Mary Lou, great to see you. How are you this morning? Just waiting for, I think it's a helicopter to pass over. But we're here at Belmont Lagoon. So I'm just sort of waiting till official start time, give a few more people a chance to jump on. But here we are on the Fernleigh track. This is a 15-kilometre track that used to be a railway line. And it's now a shared path used for cycling and walking. Is that Matthew? Hi Matthew. Great to actually be here in time for a tour. Oh, it's lovely to see you, Mary Lou. So we can see actually in the sky just over there, we're 15 minutes past sunrise, and that's where the sun rose, just over in that direction. So the sky is still kind of pink in that direction. All right, so there we go. There's someone on the bike track. Let me just turn the camera around. All right, good morning everybody. So for those who joined later, my name's Lynn. The channel is Explore with Lynn, and we are here in the Lake Macquarie area, just south of Newcastle. And we're going to do a little walk along a section of the Fernleigh track this morning. You can already hear lots of birds. Just after sunrise is when the birds are really active. And we're hoping to see lots of lovely water birds. Before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge that we're meeting today on the traditional land of the Awabakal, and pay my respects to their elders. Your hair's getting longer again, says Matthew. Yeah, it's getting that way. I've reached that point where I don't know what to do with it. Should I cut it? Should I put a fringe in? I don't know. Generally, I just sort of tie it back. All right, so let's get this party started. Turn the camera around again, and here's one of the signs that we're going to probably see a few of these along the track as we walk. The Fernleigh track used to be rail, and it used to be a rail line for the purposes of transporting coal from the Belmont area up to Newcastle. And now it's been turned into this section here is Belmont Lagoon. It is wetlands. There's over behind the trees over there, we'll hope to see it a little bit later, is the lagoon itself. And we're going to see lots of paperbark trees. And this sign here gives you an idea of some of the birds that we may see today. If we're lucky, we'll get to see a white-bellied sea eagle. That would be good. And then we've got the egrets. That's a spoonbill. And we've got, of course, the black swans. And this is what the area looks like where we're walking today. We're currently around about here. We're going to walk around there along a new section of track, and then we might walk even across to the beach. We'll see how we go. But that's the lagoon that we're basically walking around the lagoon. And then this is Lake Macquarie. How big is the lagoon, Mary Lou's asking? It's that big. These are houses here, and that's the lagoon. And this is Lake Macquarie, that it comes off a creek, feeds the lagoon here. Hi Annette, great to see you. So this is where we'll be walking today. All right, let's get started. So as I said, this used to be a railway line, and they've converted what used to be a 15 kilometres stretch of railway line into a shared path for cycling and walking. And it says, sorry I'm late, I just got off a Zoom with Alejandro. I was on Alejandro's tour yesterday, and it was fantastic. It was really good. We'll talk about it later. Okay, so 15 kilometres of train, disused train train line has been converted into a shared path for cycling and walking. And we're about to approach what used to be one of the sidings, the railway sidings, just up ahead. And we'll see remnants of the actual train track as we pass through there. And lots of people out and about cycling. It's a lovely reuse of what used to be quite industrial. Richard is surely sleeping. He was on my old Hollywood stream a few hours ago. Are you sleeping, Richard?
Maybe. in a comatose type.
Mary Lou, Alejandro was the inaugural tour for a new platform called Tour 27. And he was basically the first out of the gate, and it was great, but it was in the city, so it's not as if it was rainforests or waterfalls or beautiful birds or anything, but he did make us some coffee at the end. So I'm sure you'll hear more about that as that project gets more and more underway. So here we have some signage to do with the walking track. This gives you an indication. Adamstown to Belmont is the actual Fernleigh track, but you can continue on. The cycling paths will take you further on. And then this actually shows you the Fernleigh track. So we're down here at Belmont, and the track follows the old railway line and takes you up to Adamstown. And we live, where do we live? Up about there, I think. Round about there is where we are, in relation to Newcastle and Nobbies and Merriweather, all along here. So places that you are familiar with, and then this is the actual Fernleigh track that used to be a train line. This shows you distances. You can hear lots of frogs. And this is the old train track. We're walking along just here. There's some cyclists coming through. And here's the old railway siding. Great use of infrastructure that's no longer in use. Great repurposing. I'm a big fan of this type of project. All right. So at this point here, the track forks, heads off in two different directions. We're going to follow the path in the direction of Belmont Lagoon. But if you wanted to, you could peel off here and head towards Belmont shops in this direction. So we're going to follow the path via the Fernleigh Awabakal shared track to Belmont Lagoon, or you could take the path to Belmont in that direction. I just stood on a stick and it poked me in the leg. And here behind this sign is the sign for, I just noticed it, I didn't spot that before, there we go, Belmont Station. Okay, and then there's some more information panels. We won't spend too much time on these. We can always come back and do this another time. But this talks about the Belmont line, the Fernleigh track, and you can see that there's some old railway infrastructure around the place here as well. Okay, so let's head out onto the path towards the lagoon. hearing lots of birds, hearing the rainbow lorikeets. And seeing these lovely paperbark trees. This is a paperbark grove. And it was funny actually, Alejandro pointed out a paperbark tree on his walk yesterday as well. We're talking about the Australian plants that have been put in place in San Jose. So a little bit of shared culture there. And this talks about the importance of the coal and rail to this area back in the 1800s. I think they closed the line in the mid 1960s, somewhere thereabouts. And this is a college of further education. It's called a TAFE, Technical and Further Education. So it's a campus for basically trade skills. I don't remember which one it is. We're not locals to this area, even though we're not too far away. We're actually not locals to this area. So in here we're looking at wetlands area with a lot of cabbage tree palms in amongst the paperbark trees. Here we get a opportunity to get my words together, get close to the paperbark. I'm sure we'll get an opportunity to get a little bit closer to this, where I'm reaching out over a fence. But there's your paperbark there. So Rich is going to be moving the car. I think that might have been where he's gone. He's going to be moving the car up to a spot where we'll finish up, so we don't have to double back. Am I house sitting again, Lynn? No. This is about a half an hour from where we live. We're going to start a new house sit on the 24th, so next Wednesday, in a suburb on the northern part of Sydney. So it's called Wahroonga. It's in a leafy upmarket part of Sydney. Lovely house, and we're going to be looking after their Airbnb as well. So apparently it's quite a busy Airbnb, and every time someone checks out, we have to fix it up, get it ready for new guests. Oh, good morning. Hello. Hello. Mello, is it?
Yeah, it's Mello.
Hello, Mello. Oh, it's great, isn't it? It really is. So it's just, they described it as themselves as an executive house. And it's very nice. All right, so this is the start of the new boardwalk. And this here says, welcome to Awabakal campsite beside the lagoon. This place acknowledges the Awabakal people, the traditional custodians of this special place. The artwork, which I'll show you in a moment, is an invitation to participate and explore, to experience the ongoing cultural connection Awabakal and other people for many generations have fostered, gathering by the shores. Cast in enduring bronze from traditionally made and historical objects, this work is a lasting reminder of the Awabakal's ongoing connection to this place. The shelter is formed from a framework of branches. I don't know where the shelter is. And a bark canoe. All right, I'm missing stuff. I don't know what this is that it's talking about. But what I'm seeing here is this. It's a campsite, and that's meant to be a fireplace, but I don't know about a shelter and a canoe, so I don't know where they got to. Something's missing, or maybe it hasn't been installed yet. Okay, but I don't see a bark canoe. Anyway, the hearth pays homage to those who have gathered in this place before us. Did someone steal the canoe? Anyway, that's the meeting place. All right, whoops, get out of this lady's way. So here we are on the boardwalk, and we'll notice as we walk that there are little signs, tributes to the original inhabitants of the area as well. So these all have some kind of meaning. So we can see here, this one here I think means lagoon, and it's also replicated at the top of the pole. And it says High Pup. So unless it's referring to this up ahead, which is what we're aiming towards, maybe that sign is referring to what we're about to see in a moment. Maybe somebody borrowed the canoe. Needed a quick getaway, you think, Mary Lou? And we're about to see the lagoon as well. It's a bit of a breeze up this morning. Oh yeah, it's a bit breezy. So if you're hearing wind across the microphone, there is a bit of a breeze at the moment. Okay, so, I mean, that is like, I guess, bronze shelter shape. Possibly it's referring to this, but I don't know about a canoe. Anyway, I like it. And it's a great spot to stand and look, spend a moment looking out over the lagoon. Mary Lou says, could be, Lynn, you never know. That's right, Annette, they lost track of time. So here's some interpretation of what some of those symbols that we saw represent. So the Awabakal totem is this one here, soaring high above the coastline and over the land, the wedge-tailed eagle, that's the totem. And then we have bush tucker, bush food in and around the lagoon was plentiful. Waterways and fishing is that one there. Life on the water was enjoyed by the people, with many waterways of the area providing many fish varieties. And this one represents gathering of people. This says, Belmont Lagoon, when the moon cried. Awabakal law refers to the moon as Ponto Bung and the sun as Punal. Ponto Bung was jealous of Punal because he had to make the long journey through the sky in darkness, only to have his full face seen from time to time, whereas Punal could show her face every day. He was so sad that he withdrew into total darkness and began to cry. Over time, his tears created a lagoon at Belmont. He was thrilled to see his reflection in the water and called out to the people, telling them that he had come to bring them joy. Ponto Bung was at peace afterwards. He never forgot the people of the lagoon, and whenever he passed, he shone his brightest. So, there we go. That's some Aboriginal lore. The sun's finally made an appearance. And over in this direction, I know that there is a desalination plant currently being constructed over in that direction. So that would explain all those work equipment, the cranes over there. Let's keep walking. Shame about the breeze. It might keep the birds at bay. We might not see so many. Great looking sky today it is, and look, the sun's just starting to glow on the path here, and we see some more. There's the moon shedding its tears, look. And there's the bush tucker. And here we see that replicated at the top of this pole, the symbol for bush tucker. Over on this side here we have retirement living. I looked up the price out of curiosity. You can buy into this retirement village for a mere $400,000, which I took I gasped. I gasped when I read the price. 400,000, that seems like so much. Anyway, you can live here in your retirement village for, if you've got a handy 400,000, you can come and live here. And then I do like the sculpture that's been placed at these two poles at the entrance to that walk. So they've got things on them like fish. Yeah, mainly fish. I thought I saw a crayfish as well, but I think it's mainly fish. And there's one on the other side, both sort of similar. And this is looking back towards that lookout point, I suppose you call it, the shelter. It's in that direction there. Oh, trying to pinch back again there. And right here we have a little diversion, a little detour, just a spot where you can sit quietly out, looking out over the wetlands. Oh, that sun's blinding. Just trying to find a spot where we're not being blinded by the sun. So, not much bird activity here this morning. And unfortunately, the artwork has kind of obscured all the information that we might read about potential sightings. But if we look closely, we can see that we've got the white-bellied sea eagle, the brown honeyeater, black swan. What have we got here? Little black cormorant, looks a bit like that in between all those markings. It's useless really, isn't it? And that is a chestnut teal. Duck. We will see some of those. I'm fairly confident of that. All right. So let's continue on our way. And we're going to have a shot at that path that leads towards the beach, see how that goes. We haven't tried that, so we're not sure what the state of the path is, but we'll give it a shot. And here you go. 400,000. What do you reckon? It's nice and quiet. Okay, not sure if anyone's experiencing the technical glitch that Annette described to me on my last tour, where all of a sudden the chat disappeared. So let me know if you can still see the chat. Let me know if you can still post comments in the chat. If I don't see anything else come up, I think I assume that we're having problems again, and I'll just keep waffling on. Hopefully you can still hear me. Otherwise it's a bit of a one-way conversation. So you can see that still here, thanks Annette. You can see that the terrain here has changed. The paper bark trees have given way to she oaks. Oh hey Lynn, lovely to see you. Yeah, Annette experienced at the end of my last tour that the chat had disappeared and she wasn't able to post anything. It all went very quiet for about 10 minutes, I think. So it's always good to know that you are still there. So we have, as I said, the she oak forest is here. These are the trees that produce those seeds, pods and nuts that the black cockatoos really love. So sometimes you'll be walking through an area like this and hear cracking and crunching, and what they're after is these things that are on the ground here. So that's the little seed pod that the cockatoos love. And it's a great area for them. Just as a total aside, I read recently that, well, we did know that Lincoln's Rock, that I've taken you to a number of times, has closed to visitors after, woolly wagtail on the path. Let's see how close we can get. This is the Australian version of squirrel. Lincoln Rock had closed. It's going to remain closed until at least the end of the year. I'm going to try and zoom in if you'll stay there. And just on the left-hand rail there is a willy wagtail. People have reported since its closure, you have to walk in there now, it's about a 2-kilometre walk, seeing more black cockatoos now that there's no people turning up, no buses, no tourist buses. All right, so that was a little willy wagtail. Oh, there he is. They have a lovely song as well. I don't want to shoo him away. Let's walk over this way and see if I can walk past without disturbing him. There we go, little willy wagtail. So the plan for Lincoln's Rock is that it will be closed in such a way that you'll have to walk in from now on. There'll be no more car park and the tourist buses allowed to get close, which should help to keep the numbers down. Alright, so we've got another section of this raised path coming up in amongst just basically a little cul-de-sac residential area here. So it's alongside suburbia in a way. We've investigated ways that we might cycle this path, but we don't have bikes. We don't have room for them. I can't ride a regular bike anymore. Too punishing on my knees. So if I was to have something, it'd be like the e-bikes we used to have when we lived at Homebush that got stolen out of our secure apartment block. But we have nowhere to put them. So we'd have to hire, and the only places that I've found to hire bikes really not conveniently located to the track or the part of the track that we would like to explore. So we're still working on that. Morning. I'd love to do it. Also, it's not that cheap. We investigated prices of e-bike rental in Newcastle a few days ago, and I think it was $60 for 2 hours. So 120 for both of us. My justification is, well, you know, Richard, if you were considering buying bikes, it would be a lot more than that, and how often would we use them? So if you're using that as your comparison, then it's not that much really. It does seem like an expensive day out, but depends what you're comparing it to, I suppose. Anyway, we're still working through that. And of course, if we do, I'll try and see if there's a way that I can mount my camera on the handlebars. I need to try and get a mount, because it would be a shame to do it and not record the experience for sharing. But I really love what they've done here. It's a fabulous way that they've rejuvenated this path and gives people access to this area without causing damage to the landscape around it. Morning. So we are continuing to see these markings at the top of the poles. This one was the moon, I believe. Was that right? Do you remember? That's if you can see it. Okay, so Richard's moved the car. He's found me. Mary Lou says, I just disappeared to wash a load of dishes, but I'm back now. Glad you came back, Mary Lou. Okay, so there's the lagoon over there. All right, so up ahead is where the path forks again, and we have a choice. If we take the left-hand path, we'll follow the canal in the direction of the beach. But I love this bridge. We haven't worked out the end point for this track yet, so we'll come back and do that another time. There you go, there's that really interesting shaped bridge there. Let's go up onto the bridge and actually have a look along. This is a creek. It's called Cold Tea Creek or Cold Tea Canal. And during World War II, it was converted from just a small winding creek. So I'm gonna do squirrel again. I can see a cormorant over there. So I'll just zoom in on him while we're talking. There we go. So Cold Tea Creek was just a small narrow creek. During World War II it was dug out and expanded and straightened and turned into anti-tank infrastructure. So it was protecting Newcastle from invasion. So anything coming from the south, at that time they were fearful of Japanese invasion. So they straightened this, made it deeper in that direction there. It actually spills out into Lake Macquarie. And they put in, I can't see any, but I'm looking for poles that were dug all the way along the bank at regular intervals. Something like that, I suppose. Something like that one there. All the way along, and that was extra repelling against tanks. So protecting the city of Newcastle was, you look bored. You're right there. Yeah, the priority was to protect the city of Newcastle because we had the steelworks and yeah, all of that, the weapons manufacturer and coal and steel and everything important. Mary Lou says, I was watching the stream while doing them, and that is unusual looking bridge, and it's a great looking one. It is, isn't it? They also had here what was called dragon's teeth, and we've seen them before, but I never actually, we simply guessed at what their purpose was. We knew that the ones up at Nelson Bay at Barubie Beach were for the war and for repelling landing craft, but they're called dragon's teeth, and they're those pyramid shaped concrete blocks all along. Yeah, we saw him from a distance. Oh, it's a spoonbill. Oh, we didn't see him. Oh, look at this, guys. There's a little cormorant over there on the left, but up here, right in front of us, we've got a spoonbill. That's cool. What are the barriers for? Yeah, that was for repelling tanks. And we can see one of the wooden poles that I was talking about just here. Zoomed in, making it awful and awkward, but there it is. It's one of the wooden posts still there from. There he is. There's the spoonbill. Cormorant's just swimming in on the left. And he's just dived. So let's walk along here. We'll walk a little way at least anyway, but we're going to see if we can get to the beach. So if you can imagine, this opens to the ocean, and the whole idea was to protect Newcastle. So they had this beach here is 9 Mile Beach. It stretches all the way from Swansea to Redhead. We did a tour at Redhead last year. Had very dodgy signal. Really pretty area, very dodgy signal. And there's those dragon teeth, concrete blocks all along sections of the coast around here still remain in place. Lynn says, I wondered if the white sheet, like, oh, those ones back there. I think that's just, I'm pretty sure that's just to stop silt getting into the silt from this path, getting out into the waterway. Yeah, and yeah, so it's to protect against erosion and stop siltation of the waterway. What are we being nudged at? A lobster pot? Is that what we're looking at?
Crab lobster.
Okay. Yep. Doesn't look like it's been lifted in a while. Okay. I'm zoomed in, aren't I? Yeah, that's better. Sorry, guys. All right, so this is about the same distance as we've just come along the boardwalk. So let's see how we go. We've been going 40 minutes, so I'm sure we'll be absolutely fine. But here on our left, we get little glimpses of Belmont Lagoon as we walk. And since there's only us and the helicopters overhead, yeah, the construction, it's a bit of a muddy path. We've got to sort of zigzag along here. We had so much rain last night. Just after I went to bed, there was a huge downpour, really loud. So a lot of this came down last night. Here we go. Here's a spot where we can look out over the lagoon. There's a couple of cormorants out there in the middle. Yep. I've got to zoom in to be able to see them. They're just little dots at the moment. Send the rain to Phoenix. Oh, Matthew, we know how you must be feeling. We know drought very well. There's an egret out there in the middle. Is that an egret? It's something. Something out there in the middle. Annette says she wishes it would rain there as well. If only we could all share our weather resources, wouldn't that be amazing? Sorry, I'm just dealing with a little puppy dog nose. Now, we haven't been along here before, so we have no idea what the path is going to be like, or even whether we can get to the beach, but we're going to give it a go, see how far we can get. And in the meantime, we've got this lovely lagoon on our left and the pretty Cold Tea Creek. And there's a spot behind us, back towards the lake, where you can actually see why it's called Cold Tea Creek. The colour of the water literally looks like tea. But we get a nice reflection here though. Matthew says it is 41 degrees centigrade right now. Whew. It's a bit warm, isn't it? Look at that. The sky with the water on both sides of where we're walking. Path down the middle. Someone's left an environmental message here. Yeah, I agree. Take your rubbish with you. People need to be reminded of that. It's a bit sad, isn't it? Here's another one of those wooden tank repelling poles. So they've been here for 80 years or more. They're slowly weathering, slowly being reclaimed by the landscape. Yeah, too hot. One consolation, I guess, Matthew, I imagine it's a dry heat. I doubt that you get the humidity that we do. So that's one saving grace, I guess. Still looking for birds. Getting reflections. And what I am seeing is over there, I'm pretty sure if I zoom in, that is the white flowering melaleuca. You might be able to just see the little white flowers on there. Cormorant startled him. For anyone who likes puddle shots, we've got a few. Look. There's a couple more of these poles just here. Mary says it's a very quiet walk today, no squawking birds, they must be sleeping. We had them initially, right when we started, but they were over the other side of the lagoon. doing the zigzag walk around these puddles. All right, we're gonna have to find a way here, aren't we? Okay, we've been going 45 minutes. I was a bit slow at the beginning, wasn't I? I'm just trying to gauge how much further it is along here until we get to the beach. We may not make it. Let's see how we go. Yeah, there's some construction up ahead for the desal plant. There's a duck. There's one of those chestnut teals. I've noticed the ducks around here come towards you when they see people that come towards you, so they must be used to being fed, I reckon, which of course you shouldn't do. I've got nothing for you, mate. You can come closer so we can see you, but that's the extent of it. He's probably already worked that out because there's nothing landing in the water. It looks like I'm walking pretty fast, Mary Lou says. Yeah, he's not fooled. Richard just chucked a stone in the water. I've still got a few ankle twinges. That ankle that was giving me trouble this time last year still hasn't healed completely. My knees are doing okay. My philosophy is keep moving. I should be doing more stretching. I've been seeing a physio spasmodically and she's given me things to do and I'm really bad at following her direction. That's my problem. Now I'm keeping an eye left and right just to see if there's anything that we're missing while we walk, but I'm trying to keep the pace up so that we can get at least close to the beach. Nothing to see here. A few nice reflections, but otherwise.
Tea colour.
Yeah, Richard's just reminding us that this is the tea colour, the colour of the tea. It's probably from leaves that fall into the creek. Predominantly those melaleucas, when those leaves fall into the water, they tend to result in that tea colour. I'm going to go this way. This puddle is blocking my way. And you guys keep me going, you know, talking about me walking. Well, you guys are the ones that keep me going because I have a reason to come out here and do this. All right, so what happens here? It looks like it's the end. I don't know. I don't know where the creek goes here. The creek seems to end there, doesn't it? The path peters out as well. Well, let's go a little further and see what happens. I just heard a whipbird. Lantana, yeah. The little bird, yeah, it was tiny. There was just a tiny little bird flew in front of us, but it would have been a flash. That's about it. We're just commenting on the lantana here. This is a menace. I know some of you people are familiar with using lantana as a decorative landscaping plant. this one here. But for us, it is an environmental menace. It takes over, competes with our local. Am I zoomed in again? Local vegetation, and the animals and plants that would normally use it as habitat. It's not compatible with the way that they live. It is a pretty flower, Mary Lou, but it's a menace of a plant because it dominates. Nothing else can compete with it, and it's all along here. All right, I just got a signal warning. So let me know if you're having issues at your end, and I'll turn around if that message doesn't go away. I'll turn around because I don't want you to cut out. All good at your end. Thanks, Mary Lou. We are so close to the beach. You can just see that it opens up here. Oh, big puddle. There's a sea in front of us. I think our way might be blocked. And it's just all plant construction over there, so we aren't going to get to the beach. We are so close. Literally the beach is over that little rise, but that's where they're building. There's a platform out at sea that they're building some sort of pylon or something and doing works out at sea, and then that's all going to be the pumping works for the desalination. I can hear frogs. All right, so looks like this is as far as we're going to get, but that's okay. We'll turn around, walk back, head back towards where the car's parked. The wind's picked up here too, so I do know that if we walked in that direction, there is a spot where you can almost walk out into the middle of that little lagoon, but this is what we're going to be dealing with. And the signal is giving us trouble as well, so everything is working against us at this point. It's time. That's a signal, that's a sign, guys. It's time to turn back. And there's a sign here saying wastewater network upgrade. Yeah, okay. All right, okay. I hope they don't impact this area too much with what they're doing. That would be a shame. Where are we? We're at 53 minutes. 7:51, yeah. I think it takes about 10 minutes to walk back to the car, is that right? Did you park where we said? Mm-hmm. So we'll head back to that pretty bridge. We'll head back to that little pretty bridge and probably finish up there. Hopefully we'll see some more birds. What? Not in here, no. Here's another one of these paper barks. Here, look at this. So apparently the bark of this tree was used in a number of ways in Indigenous culture. Everything from wrapping food for cooking, so maybe like a whole fish, something like that, to like diapers, nappies for babies. It's sort of an absorbent material. So yeah, lots of ways that it could be used. Painting, it could be used like a paper-like product to paint on. That message has gone away, so that's good. My signal warning has disappeared. All right, keeping an eye out for more birds as we walk, with the lagoon again on our right. People often ask me about animals, wildlife. Most of you know already that most of our wildlife is nocturnal. We've been hearing noises on our roof lately, and I think we've got possums using our roof as part of their highway to get from one place to another. So back to Cold Tea Creek. And I'm seeing spots on the puddles, so it looks like it might be starting to sprinkle. If it gets any heavier than that, I will end, because we didn't bring an umbrella. How did we not bring an umbrella? We had them in the car. We thought it was a possibility. Oh well, yeah, it's starting to get a little bit. So keeping an eye on that. If we need to finish, I won't just stop suddenly, I'll let you know, but that's something we'll keep an eye on. We've been watching the weather all week, looking for days when we can do tours, because it's been so, oh yeah, it's picking up. Look at it out on the surface of the creek. Yeah. All right. I'm going to try and pick up the pace a little bit. I'd like to get back to that bridge before we finish. But yeah, it's getting heavier, guys. I might have to end it, which is okay because we've done almost an hour anyway, but I just did hope to get back to that bridge. All right, and we've lost our overhead cover, so we've got no more protection here. Let me just turn the camera around. I'm going to finish up and say goodbye. All right, Rich is trying to protect. Where are we? There we go. Okay, I'm going to finish up. Thanks everyone. It's been lovely again having you with me this morning. If you grabbed any nice postcards, I'd love you to share them. That would be fabulous. Otherwise, the rain has finished it for us. So, see you next time. Bye for now. Thanks, Mary Lou. Bye. Okay.